All right. So our director just asked about Clarence Thomas and Biden. I think Biden ran the hearings where Anita Hill testified that Clarence Thomas, the now Supreme Court justice, was a sexual harasser, and he kind of he Anita Hill, in the view of many people, and I guess including myself, but not based on that much evidence because I didn't watch. I was back before I paid much attention. He Joe Biden kind of fucked it up in favor of Clarence Thomas. There were three other women who were ready to come forward and tell their stories of being harassed by Clarence Thomas, but based on how it went with Anita Hill, they didn't come forward. And Biden has since admitted that he fucked up the hearing. So I don't know. I'm going to go with the judgment of everybody, including Biden himself, that he fucked that up.
Well, I want to go with, I want to talk with you. I'm sorry I missed that, but I want to talk with you more about, what did you say?
Let's move on to coronavirus.
So, no, I actually wanted to talk to you more about something that happened this week with Biden.
Okay.
Remember I said that a meeting was held on January the 5th where Obama, Brennan, Yates, and Biden all agreed, and Clapper and Comey all agreed that they were going to continue trying to get Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on January the 5th. Well, this week, George Stephanopoulos, a Democrat, asked Biden what he thought about that. And Biden said he had nothing to do with it. He wasn't even there, and he didn't ask for any surveillance of Flynn. And George Stephanopoulos had to remind him, no, actually, that's not in the transcripts. According to the testimony of Yates, you were there, and the transcripts that the new documents that were released by the intelligence agencies this week show that Biden was closely monitoring Flynn's phone calls. So either Biden doesn't remember that he was doing that, or he's a filthy liar. Which is it, Rick?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But this stuff in general, Tara Reade and Obamagate, I gotta say, what seems to be happening is that, unlike the Hillary's email stuff in 2016, this stuff doesn't have as much traction with it doesn't appear to have as much traction with the general voting public as actually the Hillary stuff did.
Actually, the thing is that Democrats like yourself are brainwashed into accepting very unethical, very evil behavior if it's done by a Democrat. So let me ask you a question, Rick. Biden was actually surveilling Flynn. He was using the intelligence agencies after the election was over in order to surveil his political opponents. And then he lied about it just this week. And we have documents revealed by the intelligence agencies themselves and by a witness to the meeting, Sally Yates, that he was there and requesting them.
Okay.
Do you want Biden to harass his political opponents and then lie about it?
Okay.
Do you want American leaders to use intelligence agencies to frame their political opponents? Because that was what the January 5th meeting was about.
Not particularly, but given if that's part of Biden's resume, then I still want Biden.
Okay, so on January the 4th,
yeah, you can say it as many fucking times as you want.
Signed off.
You're not going to change my mind about voting for Biden.
Okay, I'm just saying, Comey signed off that the investigation with Flynn had come up with no evidence that he deserved to be
So who are
investigated
you
as a
trying to
Russian spy.
convince? I mean, all this stuff may be true, but whose vote are you going to change with this stuff?
There are reasonable people out there that don't want the American leaders to be harassing their political opponents and then lying about it. Maybe not you, of course, Rick, but there are reasonable people that think it's unfair for the president and the vice president to be sicking the FBI on their political opponents. That's okay
Okay.
with you, though. That's okay with you?
It's not the thing that I'm most concerned about.
Really? What happens if Trump decides to sick the FBI on you? How would you
Well, I
feel
mean,
about that?
I
Don't
wouldn't
make a
want
joke.
that.
Don't make a
That's
joke. Don't make a joke.
No, I'm not. No, because I have actual concerns that of shit like that happening because I've been on Twitter solidly for 4 years now, like many times a day on average. I've probably tweeted mean shit about Trump.
Hmm.
It's been very crunchy right now. Um, it's been 1,400 days at least where I've been tweeting about what a fucking asshole Trump is,
How
and
would you like
1,400.
it, Rick?
What?
Rick, would you like it
Let me answer the
if
fucking question, friend, here. So at least 4,000 tweets that are anti-Trump, which puts me in like the top, like 3% of people on Twitter, saying mean shit against Trump. And, if Trump gets another 4 years, I do have concerns that the FBI could come visiting me.
well,
Like
the
I'll
only
tweet, what?
well, we know for certain that Obama ordered the FBI to continue an effort to frame his political opponent Flynn. We know for certain that meeting is what happened. That is what happened in the
Yeah,
documents
yeah,
this week.
but look
And we know for certain.
here's my framework. You can say this stuff wasn't kosher, but the way I look at it is that I imagine, and I'm allowed to imagine what I imagine. You're not going to imagine the same thing, but I imagine, um, Obama's White House looking at what's coming and being like, "Oh fuck, this is not the president we wanted, and B, this guy is and his people are super duper like shitty, and we should like continue to look at them because wow." And then when you look at us 3.5, 3.25 years later, um, boy, he has turned out. I mean, we've got 14.7% unemployment. We have 1 to 2,000 people dying a day from
Uh-huh.
coronavirus.
That's Rick. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If if the next if Trump and the Republicans decide that the next administration coming in is super duper shitty, then I guess they should be able to use the CIA and the FBI to surveil and frame their opponents, right, Rick?
Well, whether or not they're supposed to, I assume they will. I mean, Trump has already been caught,
You assume
like,
they will.
I mean, to the extent
Has
they
he?
can,
Rick, has he?
no, shut up, shut up, shut up. Trump has already been caught, like, trying to pressure Ukraine into coming up with dirt on Hunter Biden. So I assume that Trump will,
He was not caught on that because it went nowhere, Rick.
uh, just because the Republicans didn't vote to impeach him doesn't mean it didn't fucking happen.
Rick, did Hunter Biden get get money to end the prosecution of Burisma in the Ukraine?
No.
Yes, that's what happened, Rick. After he
Hunter
received
Biden, no,
huge
no.
Hunter Biden received $3 million, and they got a call from the Obama White House to end that prosecution. So
No,
I think Trump's had
no,
a
that's a bullshit framing of it.
no,
And
that's exactly what happened. As a matter of fact, Marie Ivanovich, the ambassador to the Ukraine, was actually receiving meetings with Burisma at the behest of the Bidens, and she lied about it.
All right,
And
fucking. I
she
mean,
was,
that's
and
your,
she was
that's
the
what your
one.
fucking media
She
tells you. But
no
anyway,
no wait
fucking.
no this document was just released this week. I can find it for you on the internet.
Anyway, fucking.
Marie
Fucking
Marie
Trump was
Ivanovich
looking. But
Marie
all right, well, that's bullshit. But even if it weren't, Trump was trying to get Ukraine to look into that shit.
well,
Was
why
like.
shouldn't he, Rick?
Well, you just asked what I'd think about whether Trump would like try to pull whatever strings he could to fuck over the other side. And I'm saying, well,
But
sure he would.
Rick, the difference is this. Hunter Biden really did get a bribe. We have the documentation. We know that the money is in his bank from his association with Burisma. And at the same time, General Flynn was not a Russian spy.
Well, I'm saying people are going to do what people are going to do what they're going to do, and fucking yeah, Trump. I mean, look, like Lance wants Obama and Biden and everybody in that administration prosecuted for looking for dirt for on Trump. And of course, I'd like to see Trump get in trouble for unethically looking for um, dirt on his opponents. But
Rick,
what it looks like is, from if you want to take a kind of bullshitty neutral point of view, is each side was looking for dirt for the other. Maybe each side did that using a variety of ethical and unethical means, but the shit goes on. It's not like fucking Trump is the cleanest guy in the world, and maybe Obama and company aren't that clean either, but it's not like fucking one side, like the Obama, like the fucking Laura Ingraham and company are like Obama was the dirtiest fucking president in history, and that's just ridiculous. Plenty of presidents have been dirty. Fucking Nixon stupidly went way out of his way to look for dirt on his opponents, and he had to leave office because of it. And every fucking president has done it, and the shit's gonna happen.
Rick, did
And
you
it is not
know,
like fucking
Rick,
Trump is clean and
Rick,
Obama's dirty. You can argue they're
Rick,
both dirty,
Rick,
but you
I
can't argue.
realize I realize that you hate Trump. Did you know that Brennan hid evidence that the Russians supported Hillary in the election?
You've showed me one fucking footnote 347 in that fucking report that one guy
No.
interviewed.
It turns out that there was a witness in the CIA that is attributing it to it now.
Yeah,
I can look up his
but I
name
gotta
if you
say,
want.
I'm not allowed to use the R word, but I gotta say that is fucking retarded. It's super well established that the Russians wanted Trump, and saying otherwise is just fucking mentally defective.
Okay, all right. Let me look up his name. The
No,
acting
fuck you. That's
director of
stupid. No, if
no,
you're
no.
gonna fucking, I'll just end this fucking thing. If you're gonna try to make the case that the
Well,
Russians wanted Hillary,
I'll just continue after you're done then, Rick. So here's the thing. Acting Director of National Intelligence Richard Grenell is
that guy, that fucking
declassifying.
hack,
He's
the guy who could get confirmed in the first time around because he was too shitty, and now he's
he
up for
is
a second time.
he is declassifying a document that John Brennan knew that Putin wanted Hillary to win,
But
and
that's stupid.
This is being backed up by a CIA operative whose name I'm going to find for you right this second. Uh, okay, Fleets. There is a former CIA man, member of the national security team, uh, named Fleets, who says that he's seen the evidence and that Brennan had concealed it, and he will go on he'll take an oath that this happened. His name
Fine,
is Fred
let
Fleets.
him fucking
Yeah,
take an oath
yeah.
and show the
So
evidence.
so
But
so
the
not
deal is that
only
17 no
wait.
fucking 17 intelligence agencies
There
with the
weren't
conclusion
17 intelligence agencies, Rick. It turns out that it was Brennan, Clapper, and Comey. Those were the only people. The 17 was a lie. You were lied to by your media. Now,
Oh,
let me
bullshit.
ask you a
Bull
question.
fucking bullshit.
Fred Fleets, a CIA officer and National Security Council Chief of Staff, has alleged that Brennan suppressed intelligence findings of Russian interference to benefit Clinton. Yeah. So is
Yeah,
he
well, I don't
lying too,
fucking
Rick?
believe it. I don't fucking
So
believe
yeah,
it.
you don't believe it. You don't believe it. So
But
let
you
me
can,
ask you
if
a
you want,
question.
now hold on. You like to, you
Wait.
send me, if now send me a link. Now, on the surface of it, having just heard of it now, if you want to send me a link, I'll read about it. And there's always a chance, like you've changed my mind about some stuff. Nothing tonight, but sometimes I've never changed your mind about fucking anything. But send me a fucking link with this, and I'll read it and I'll look at it, and if it makes, like,
It's just what I said. Now listen, last week I
no, no
said something
fucking,
I thought was kind of important, and you didn't react at all. I said that Clapper and Yates, in secret testimony before the Schiff Committee, admitted that there was no evidence that Trump had colluded with the Russians.
oh my God. Yeah, so
So this was released in documents by the intelligence agencies this week. There were secret hearings when Adam Schiff was trying to impeach the president. He interviewed Clapper and Yates, who were Obama's chief
yeah, okay,
people in
so this came out,
intelligence,
and
and
yeah, okay,
they both said that they had not seen any evidence that Trump had colluded with the Russians.
yeah, but
And
like
yet,
you keep
and yet
trying to,
Adam Schiff, and yet Adam Schiff continued to claim that Trump had colluded with the Russians, and Clapper that same month went on TV and said that he believed that Trump had colluded with the Russians. He said that on CNN.
all right, is
So
this all part of,
what does
is
that
this all
make you
still,
think, Rick?
what?
What do you think about your side lying
You
and
know,
concealing evidence?
I'm kind of okay with it, given how big a piece of shit Donald Trump is.
And if we thought that Obama was a piece of shit, we have the right to lie about him and frame him and say that he's working with the Russians.
I mean, do your best, take your best shot, motherfucker.
So that's the kind of world you want to live in, huh, Rick?
That's
You
the
don't
kind
have
of
any
world we
ethics
do
at all.
live in.
So wait, if you don't like Trump, you're allowed to lie about him. You're allowed to frame him. You're allowed to say he's a Russian traitor. You're allowed to try to get his people put in prison. All that's okay with you, right, Rick?
I guess there's a scene in 1984 um, where Winston Smith um, is they've everybody in 1984 is politically compromised, right? It's a surveillance state, and to show Winston Smith how morally bankrupt, like Winston Smith is upset about how this totalitarian state, and they get his contact, who's really working for the state, to interview him and say, well, how far would you be willing to go if it would help topple the state? Would you kill a little girl? And they get Winston Smith to say, well, I wouldn't want to, but I guess if it would topple the state, I would. And this is the same kind of argument. You kind of get me to be morally compromised by, like, what? Well, that's what I'm going to argue. Here's my argument. Here's my argument. That, yeah, here's my fucking argument that this Obamagate shit and Adam Schiff and Yates and Clapper and
It's
Comey
good that
and
they lied. It's
Obama.
okay that they all lied.
Well, the deal is that what's okay is that you bring up all this shit, and
Because you don't like Trump.
some of it may be legit, and some of it is like hyperbole or misrepresentation
Well,
or whatever.
I don't
But
know,
then
Rick.
hold on, let me say my fucking words. And you bring up Obamagate, and you bring up, like, the Vagina Gate and all this shit, and sadly, but that shit's not getting as much traction as it did because the country is in such a mess right now. It's it because, I mean, the people who thought Trump would be a disastrous president, um have, through the bad luck of the country, been given ample evidence that he's a disastrous president.
So it's okay, Rick. So
That's what you're
all the
saying, that
time
you're
that
doing the
all the
1984 thing.
all the time that you said that Trump colluded with the Russians,
Yeah, but I don't know. It's been years
that
since I've said that. You
yeah, I
keep
know, all
saying that
that
I
time
say that.
it didn't even matter to you whether he had or not, because you're just a hypocrite. You didn't care whether he colluded with him or not. You just wanted to get him.
Well, I mean, there's so much to get him with that.
No, but it was okay to frame him and say that he was a Russian traitor.
Well, no, but you're frozen. Hold on.
So my point, though, Rick, is that for 2 years, 3 years now, you've been telling me that Trump was manipulated by the Russians. At first, you said he was colluding with the Russians, and now it turns out that all along your people were lying to you, and the only thing you can say is, well, that's fine because I hate Trump. He's a bad president. All of this is okay. What they did.
Well,
You have no ethics whatsoever. Because I'll tell
no,
you
you know
before you
what? I mean,
answer, Rick, I
I mean,
wouldn't do this to Obama. I wouldn't lie about Obama. I don't have to lie. I just don't like his record, and I can prove why I don't like his record.
yeah.
But you guys are fine lying about it, and for 2 years, instead of being embarrassed, instead of admitting that you lied about Trump, you're okay with it because you say he's a bad president. Is that your argument?
I mean, I could kind of pretend to be, I don't know, more pure than that. But I mean, when you present it like that, um, I gotta say that, yeah, I don't mind it that much because he's a bad president.
So all that time, Schiff's hearings, the
Yeah, well,
statements
I
from
don't buy everything
Clapper,
you're. I don't
all
buy
of those
everything you're
things were
saying.
lies.
I don't
What?
buy the whole Obamagate package you're presenting.
Well, no, but I mean, if Clapper and Yates both admitted that they had no proof, that they had not seen any evidence that Trump was a spy, and Adam Schiff hid that from the general public and
All
continued
right,
with
so here's
with
what I'll
the
do. Here's what I'll do.
statement that
All
he
right,
had
so
evidence, then he was lying, and
yeah, so
the
let me
whole
fucking
idea
let me read up
was a
about it.
lie.
Let me read up. So I mean, you might have me cornered here. Well, where I'll have to admit that I'm okay with, unethical means used in it. What I don't like about it is that, um, I mean, I'll say that if they're going to use unethical means, at least make it fucking stick. At least have it have some effect instead of just getting Schiff in trouble. It's like fucking, I mean, what the,
Well, so
I mean,
you
what,
really don't
the
believe in the
shit about the
American system
email,
at all.
the shit. Hold on, shut up for the shit about the emails really stuck to Hillary, and it fucked her, and it had a huge part in her losing the elections. So at least the Democrats should be at least competent enough to have shit stick to a very fucking sticky president. If they're going to be
Yeah,
unethical about shit, at least have it have some effect. Jesus Christ.
yeah, but my problem is this: it is impressing a lot of people that have ethics. Apparently, it doesn't impress
No, I don't
you
think
because
so.
you
I don't think
apparently
people are
you
impressed.
yeah, they are. Because see, what's happening is this: the independents that see that Schiff and Clapper and Yates were all lying, and that Trump was unfairly accused of being a traitor. A lot of innocent people that aren't brainwashed and biased like yourself are disgusted by that. But you're not. And
Well, no,
really, I
what I
don't
think
want
is, all
people
right,
like
so,
you running my country.
all
I
right,
would
but
not
I'm just
vote for
I'm
somebody
more
that
disgusted by
you
Trump
thought.
himself. I'm more disgusted by Trump himself, and I believe that more
I
people.
understand, Rick. Rick. I was just as disgusted with Obama as you were
uh,
of Trump, but I believe in the American system. And what this proves to me is that Democrats like yourself really don't believe in democracy and representational voting and being fair and justice. You like to frame people, you like to spy on them, you like to lie about them, you like to lie about them in public, You like to put spies in their campaign. You like to wiretap their conversations. You like to put them in jail. That's the kind of people you are, Rick. And
Okay,
that's why I
fine.
despise the Democrat
Then
Party.
this is where I come back and I can say voter fucking suppression and da 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 and all that
No, there's
fucking
no
shit.
voter suppression. Wait, you prove it.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to coronavirus. Let's fucking. I mean,
No, but
do you really
what
want to?
interests
I
me
don't want to
is that
fucking.
you
That's
agreed. You said it was okay. You said it was okay.
which.
I don't believe in voter suppression, but you do believe in surveilling your opponents and framing them. You do believe in that. You do believe in lying about your opponents.
Okay, fine. So let's move on.
No, it's not. It's kind of important, Rick, because it means that see, I don't believe in voter suppression. I don't believe in bad things, but you do. You and your party believe in lying about your opponents if you don't like them. That's the kind of guy you are, Rick. It's the kind of party you believe in.
Terrible guy.
You believe
I'm a fucking terrible guy. Let's move on.
No. It's not about you though. Even though Schiff knew that Clapper and Yates, who are the people most in charge of justice and intelligence at the Obama administration, the highest guy there, Clapper, and his second in command, actually his temporary command of the Justice Department, Sally Yates.
I haven't read about it. Shut up for a second. Shut up. Let me say. Give me. Hold on. Fucking. I haven't read about any of this shit. But and so
why?
Maybe just give me till next.
Why?
Because
don't
my
you
media.
Think it's kind of important.
All right, but here's the deal. Here's the fucking deal. I'll read about it over the week. Maybe I'll have a moral awakening. But right now, I want to move on. And we've left it that I'm a terrible person. But let me.
No. We didn't let me make my point. You didn't let me make my point.
You did. You called me a fucking terrible person.
No. But my point is that you belong to a terrible party that believes in lying and deception and don't care because you hate your political opponents so much that you're willing to break any law and destroy the foundations of American society, of American democracy and justice. None of that matters to you if you can get in charge.
The Republicans have been more responsible for undermining American society over the past 40 years than the Democrats have.
Rick, you just admitted to me that you liked it.
In U.S. history since the Civil War.
Are you done? Can I speak? No, I don't want to move on. I don't want to move on because for 3 years now, you've been supporting a lie about Trump, and you think it's good because you hate Trump.
It's not a lie. Trump was manipulated by Russia. There's all sorts of.
Well, Clapper and Yates. Wait, Rick. Clapper, the head of Obama's intelligence, and Yates, the head of his Justice Department, disagree with you.
Then let me fucking.
Do you understand,
Rick? Back about it.
Rick, no, there's nothing. Wait.
I don't want to take your stupid Republican word for it. If you want to argue about it with me, then let me do the research and read about it. You want to call me a terrible person?
It was in
fucking next week. Fucking shut up for a second. Give me till fucking next week, motherfucker. I'm yelling. Carol's sick. I shouldn't be fucking yelling because I'm waking her up. Let's move on to some other shit. I'll read up on it and then we can have the same argument next fucking week. All right?
I want to argue about why this wasn't on the front page.
Shut up. Until then, I'm a terrible person, and the Democrats are terrible. Until next week, and then fucking next week we'll see. All right, let me read about it. I'm
going to speak now. I'm going to speak. 3 weeks ago, I told you this. I actually was just watching our show. I told you this 2 weeks ago. And you haven't looked it up and haven't heard a word about it.
I don't do anything.
No, that tells me.
I can barely beat off. I'm very not doing anything.
No. I'm not asking you to research it. I'm asking you why your media is lying to you. Why did your media keep these very important facts from you?
I'm paying any attention. I don't know that they're lying to me because I haven't read up on the shit because I haven't.
Well, you read all about the Pussygate, right?
I did because I find that shit interesting.
Why did your Why did your media tell you so much about this lady's vagina, but nothing about Comey and nothing about Clapper and Yates admitting that they have no evidence that Trump colluded with Russia?
There's shit for me to read about. I just choose. It's my choice. I'd rather read about Tara
And
Reid
by the
than
way, yeah, and by the way, Rick, this isn't about whether for 3 years now you've been saying colluded, manipulating. Adam Schiff, the head of your party, says that Trump colluded with Russia, and now it turns out he was lying about that.
Okay, but like, how many times are you going to say the same
But you
fucking thing?
loved Adam Schiff.
Now
You loved
Carol's
Adam
all
Schiff.
right.
You told me he was like
Now
an
Carol's
angel.
up. Carol, who's sick, is up. So fucking, I told you to shut up about this. That we do it next week. Now she's awake. Now she's fucking in pain. You fucker. So just shut up about it, cunt. All right.
This is
All
your
right.
fault. You're
You
the one that
fucking
can't
shut
handle
up.
being a
Fucking
liar.
fuck off. No, shut up. I keep telling you to shut up. I got Carol standing right here in pain. I told you to fucking shut up. Now fucking shut up, Dick. God damn it. Now we'll move on
This
for
is
half a
your fault
second.
for losing your temper. I'm not yelling at Carol. You're the one that's yelling. I haven't even raised my voice.
You
Can't
fucking
you
twat.
control your
Shut up.
emotions when you're lying, Rick? Rick, when you're lying about Trump, you need to be able to control your emotions.
All right.
This is your fault, not mine. It's not Trump's fault. It's your fault. You did not need to yell. Well, I guess that's it. Wait. I'm going to speak. Wait, I want to speak about coronavirus right now. All right. All right. Are we filming? All right. So I would just like to say that the reason we're doing this remotely is because Rick, besides lying about Trump, is still afraid to leave to be with people, I guess, or I would be over at his house being attacked, most likely. But I live in Los Angeles, and on May 17th, 2020, the mayor of Los Angeles says that we have to wear masks whenever we leave the house. Now, we have a pretty much under control coronavirus situation here. The curves are flat for deaths and new cases. And the mayor, rather than loosening up, has decided to double down on controls over the population. So Los Angeles right now is not a free city anymore. We are under the control of a megalomaniacal mayor that says we can't leave the house without wearing a mask for any reason. And so if I walk from here to my car and I'm not wearing a mask, that's breaking the law, and I will be given a fine. But not only that, the mayor has decided that he's going to keep the lockdown for 3 more months, and maybe until there's a treatment. So we don't know when the mayor will decide to set us free. We don't know when he's going to decide to end the lockdown. All of this is very interesting to me because of one fact. Florida and Georgia ended their lockdown and several weeks ago, and their curves are going down. All right, they have fewer deaths. The ratio of death and new cases is actually going down in Florida and Georgia with no lockdown whatsoever. And we're increasing the lockdown in California. So Gavin Newsom, our governor, actually opened up the beaches and then said that there were too many people going to the beach, so he closed them again. We now have 33% unemployment in Los Angeles, but Garcetti won't end the lockdown. My argument is that we have a bad flu season. Oh, and by the way, something else I was going to say. it's turning out that there's going to be an investigation by the representative bodies of uh, Governor Cuomo and three other Democrat governors that caused at least 1/3 of the deaths. So we know that we've got a high death rate from coronavirus, but a third of the deaths were caused because the Democrat governors insisted on putting uh, COVID infected patients into the rest homes. So it's not just a conspiracy theory. Cuomo is now going to be investigated because he may be the biggest mass murderer of this whole experience. Now, I know that Rick doesn't want to blame the Chinese, and he doesn't want to blame Cuomo because I guess he's on their side. Cuomo's a Democrat, and uh, and the Chinese. Well, I don't know what Rick's feelings are about the Chinese, but Rick and the Democrats are trying to blame this on Trump when we know for a fact that at least a third of the deaths were caused by these Democrat governors and their policy of they didn't want to discriminate against COVID patients. So they put them in the rest homes where they killed all those thousands and thousands of elderly people. So that's all I have to say. That's my science corner from imprisoned Los Angeles. I speak to you imprisoned by the Democrats. Director, do you have anything to say? All right, thank you. Oh yeah, go to PayPal and look up RICK, or no, I'm sorry, I always get it wrong. It's yeah, it's at the bottom of our page, but I'll speak it. Lance versus Rick at gmail.com, and it's LANCEVSRICK at gmail.com, and you can give us money. If you enjoy having a Democrat squirm and scream at a Republican, then please give us money. Thank you. Why? Why was Hockney in the news? Well, I mean, Hockney has a theory that the old masters traced their drawings, uh, and he has no evidence for it whatsoever. Um, the reason that he says these things is because he can't draw. So he says that the old masters traced their drawings but if you've seen old master drawings and you've seen Hockney's drawings, you can see that he's just jealous. He had this theory that they were tracing their drawings, but um, anybody can draw better than Hockney. I could probably find 2,000 people in the United States that could draw more accurately than Hockney can, and they don't trace. That's alive today. Probably over from here to Russia and China would be tens of thousands. The problem is that Hockney can't draw accurately. He was a kind of a semi moderately good painter, I guess is the best way to put it. His work is okay. I mean, it has a nice, colorful, decorative quality. And so, at a time when people wanted very bland, colorful work, he became very popular. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you like looking at his work instead of wallpaper, that's fine by me. But he really doesn't have any business saying that the old masters couldn't draw. And I really don't care if Hockney likes Van Gogh. I don't think much of Van Gogh either. I think he's a media creation. Both of them are. So you're talking about two media creations, one talking about the other. I think, if anything, Van Gogh is more talented than Hockney, but um, neither of them are in the top tier of really talented artists. What is he in the news? He what? Can the public hear what you're saying, by the way, or only I? That Here's the thing. This isn't good because part of the interest of this video right now is for the audience to hear your questions, director. So there's going to be a lot of gaps. All right. Well, all right. So the director's asked my opinion of Bob Dylan. He says that there's a new documentary about Bob Dylan where it says that he didn't like being political. Um, you know, I think you have to admire Bob Dylan. I think he was a genuine talent, a brilliant songwriter. I mean, no reasonable person could argue against him. I think it's interesting that he hated, you know, getting involved in politics because, um, as you know, unless you're absolutely certain of something, politics changes every decade. Looking back on things, you don't want to be a political artist because what if you find out you were wrong about something? I mean, that's the reason that I'm glad I didn't do political art when I was younger because I was a left winger, and I would have been ashamed of everything I did. So it sort of comforts me that a genius like Bob Dylan would also kind of be uncomfortable doing political music and lyrics. Director? All right. Well, listen, we can't do the show with you on where people can't hear your voice, and Rick is too angry to keep doing the show. So let's just end the show, okay? All right. Very good. Bye.